I pulled out my phone as the plane began its descent into LAX, fingers trembling slightly as I typed, landing in 20 minutes. This will be the best surprise of her life. The send button felt like a promise I was about to keep. 3 years. Too long. The photograph in my wallet had become soft at the edges from handling, Matilda laughing in her kitchen, Flower dusting her dark hair, Emma missing her front tooth, grinning beside her, little Jack holding up a crayon masterpiece. I'd looked at it every day since Martha died, but today felt different. Today, I was finally doing something about the ache in my chest. Folks, we're beginning our final approach into Los Angeles International Airport. My weathered hands gripped the armrests. 5 years of grief had turned me into a stranger, even to my own daughter. But Matilda's voice during our last call 3 months ago kept echoing, "I'm just tired, Dad. Really tired." Something in her tone had stayed with me. "Studio City, please." I settled into the Uber, showing the driver the address on my phone. "Going to see my daughter. She doesn't know I'm coming." The highway stretched endlessly ahead. I tried calling Matilda twice during the drive, then hung up before it could ring. No, better to surprise her in person. "This is the place?" The driver pulled up to a neat house with white shutters. "Perfect." I grabbed my overnight bag and stood on the sidewalk. I reached into my bag and pulled out the small gift, a hand-carved wooden jewelry box I'd made in my garage workshop, something to keep her grandmother's ring safe until Emma was old enough. I pressed the doorbell. The familiar chime echoed inside. Then silence. I pressed the doorbell again, holding it longer. The chime rang through what sounded like an empty house, followed by that same hollow quiet. "Matilda, it's Dad," I called out, knocking. I stepped back and looked at the house. The rose bush by the front window had turned brown at the edges. Walking around to the side gate, I peered into the backyard. Empty patio furniture covered in dust, the vegetable patch withered. A child's tricycle lay on its side. I returned to the front porch. The mailbox overflowed with envelopes and packages. The latest postmark I could see was from 10 days ago. My heart began beating faster. I cupped my hands against the living room window. Dark inside, curtains drawn, no movement, no sound of family life. The house felt abandoned. "Excuse me, are you looking for the McCoys?" An elderly woman and a son had approached from next door. "Yes, I'm Harley Sims, Matilda's father. Have you seen them lately?" She paused. "Come to think of it, no. Been awfully quiet over there. Usually hear the children playing in the morning, but..." She trailed off. "Is everything all right?" I sat heavily on Matilda's front step, the wooden jewelry box clutched in my hands. Matilda would have mentioned a vacation. Gary, her husband, was obsessed with social media, he would have posted photos. I scrolled through Matilda's Facebook page. The last post was 6 weeks ago. My daughter had gone completely quiet. I finally dialed Matilda's number. 1 ring, 2, 3, straight to voicemail. I hung up and dialed again. Voicemail. The third time, I let it ring longer. "Hello." The voice that answered wasn't Matilda's. Male, professional, cautious. "Matilda, this is Dad. I'm in Los Angeles. I wanted to surprise you, but nobody's home. And sir, this is Dr. Rivera from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Are you a family member of Matilda McCoy?" The world tilted sideways. "What?" "Yes, I'm her father." "Why do you have her phone? Where is she?" A pause that lasted forever. "Mr. Sims, I'm very sorry to inform you that your daughter is currently in our intensive care unit. She's been receiving treatment for advanced cancer and her condition is critical." The words hit me like physical blows. "Cancer? Critical? That's impossible." My voice came out strangled. "I talked to her 3 months ago. She was fine. She was just tired from chasing the kids around." Sir, I understand this is shocking news. Stage 4 cancer can progress rapidly. She's been under our care for several weeks now. Several weeks. The neglected garden, the overflowing mailbox, the silent house. It all clicked into place with horrible clarity. Where's Gary? Her husband? Where are my grandchildren? I cannot comment on other family matters, Mr. Sims. But I strongly recommend you come to the hospital immediately. Your daughter has been asking for you. My hands were shaking so violently I could barely hold the phone. What's the address? I'm coming now. Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, 8700 Beverly Boulevard. Ask for the Oncology Intensive Care Unit when you arrive. Dr. Rivera. The line went dead. I stared at the phone. How had I become the kind of father who found out his daughter was dying from a stranger on the phone? The wooden jewelry box fell from my lap, clattering on the porch steps. I stood up too quickly, head spinning, and stumbled toward the street. The taxi door slammed shut. Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, please. Fast as you can. Traffic's heavy this time of day, sir. But I'll do my best. His eyes met mine in the rearview mirror. Emergency. My daughter. She's dying. The memory of Matilda's laughing face, the sound of her saying, "Just tired, Dad. Really tired," played on an endless loop. What kind of father was I? I dialed Gary's number for the 4th time, straight to voicemail again. Gary, this is Harley. I'm in LA, Matilda's in the hospital and you need to call me immediately. The message felt inadequate, too polite for the rage building in my chest. My daughter was fighting for her life, and her husband was nowhere to be found. Faster, please, I told the driver. She's only 38, has 2 little kids. So young, he murmured. This breaks the heart. The taxi pulled up to the hospital entrance just as evening began to paint the sky purple. Modern glass and steel rose before me, imposing and clinical. I approached the information desk where a kind-faced woman looked up expectantly. Oncology Intensive Care Unit, I managed. My daughter, Matilda McCoy. ID, please, and I'll need you to sign in. She directed me to the 7th floor. The elevator ride felt endless, each floor number lighting up like a countdown to devastation. When the doors opened, the antiseptic smell hit me immediately. Dr. Rivera waited at the nurse's station. Mr. Sims, I'm glad you made it safely. She's been asking for family. She'll be relieved you're here. How is she? The question came out hoarse. Stable for now. The chemotherapy hasn't been as effective as we'd hoped, but she's responding to the current treatment protocol. He gestured down the hallway. Room 712. I should warn you, the illness has taken a physical toll, but mentally, emotionally, she's still very much herself. Nothing could have prepared me. Matilda lay propped up in the hospital bed, connected to monitors. She looked so small, so fragile, a shadow of the vibrant woman who danced at her wedding. But when she saw me, her face transformed. Daddy. The word came out like a whisper. I crossed the room in 3 steps and carefully gathered her into my arms. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I didn't want to worry you, she breathed against my shoulder. You were still grieving Mom, and I thought I could handle it myself. Why didn't you tell me? We could have fought this together. The doctor said 6 months, maybe 8, with treatment. She looked away. I kept thinking I'd call you when I was in remission, when I had good news to share. I settled into the chair beside her bed. Where's Gary? I tried to keep my voice neutral. Her expression shifted. He said he had important business meetings this week. She looked away. He'd be back before the weekend. When did you last see him? 3 days ago. The words came out small, ashamed. He's been distant since the diagnosis. I think it scares him. Scares him. My daughter was dying, and her husband was scared. I spent the next hour just holding her hand. As evening deepened, she finally fell into a deeper sleep. I gently released her hand and moved to the window. Time to try Gary again. I pulled out my phone. First call, voicemail. I typed a text message, "Your wife is in the ICU. Call immediately." 5 minutes passed. Nothing. Second attempt yielded the same result. But then I noticed Matilda's phone on the bedside table. Maybe if the call came from her number. I carefully picked it up. Third call attempt using Matilda's phone. Straight to voicemail again. I nearly set the phone down when the screen lit up with a notification, Instagram. The app was still open, logged in as Matilda. At the top of the feed, Gary's story appeared. I tapped it without thinking. The first image made my blood freeze, a luxury yacht deck gleaming in afternoon sunlight. Champagne glasses catching the sun. The timestamp read 2 hours ago. I swiped to the next story. Gary's face filled the screen, grinning broadly, arms around 2 other men. All 3 looked like they'd stepped out of a magazine ad. Behind them, the Pacific Ocean stretched to infinity. The caption read, "Living my best life with the boys." Posted 90 minutes ago. Living his best life. While I was learning my daughter had cancer. Screenshot after screenshot, each image a dagger. Gary diving off the yacht. Gary raising another champagne glass. The final video showed him addressing the camera, nothing like a few days away from reality to clear your head. You know, sometimes you just gotta live a little. His wife was connected to machines, and he was talking about getting away from reality. I checked the location tags, Marina del Rey, less than an hour from this hospital. I typed another message. I see you're having fun. Your wife is dying. Call me. I have screenshots. We need to talk. Still no response. Looking back at Matilda's peaceful face, I whispered, "I won't let him hurt you anymore, sweetheart. Daddy's here now, and I'm going to fix this." I slipped out of Matilda's room and took the elevator to the hospital cafeteria. I found a quiet table in the far corner, pulling out my phone to stare at that yacht photo again. How does a business consultant afford a $15,000 yacht rental? The question triggered a memory. 1 year ago, Gary had approached me about family emergencies, Emma's dental work, house repairs. Could I help them out temporarily by giving him access to my backup account? Just until things stabilize, he'd promised. Matilda doesn't need the stress of financial worry on top of everything else. My hands shook as I opened my banking app, navigating to the shared account I'd set up for Gary's emergency access. The transaction history loaded slowly. Marina del Rey, yacht charters, $15,000, posted yesterday. Nobu Malibu, $850, 3 days ago. Beverly Hills Mercedes service, $2,400, last week. Rodeo Drive shopping, $3,200, 10 days ago. A month-long pattern of luxury spending while my daughter wasted away in a hospital bed. Every dollar he'd blown on champagne and yacht parties had come from my account. I screenshotted every transaction. The engineering part of my brain took over, document the evidence, build the case. Rage was useful, but cold calculation would serve Matilda better. I pulled out a small notebook and began writing down key information. I finished my cold coffee and found a quiet alcove near the hospital chapel. I called the bank's emergency line. First National Emergency Services, this is Amanda speaking. This is Harley Sims, account holder. I need to revoke authorized access on my accounts immediately. I kept my voice steady, professional. I show Gary McCoy has had authorized access to your backup savings account since April 2022. Are you requesting complete revocation of his privileges? Immediate and permanent removal. Transfer all remaining funds to my primary secured account. I need to inform you this action is irreversible. Are you certain you want to proceed? Cancel everything associated with his access. Every automatic payment, every linked service, every recurring charge. Each word came out crisp. Final. The hold music played. I was systematically dismantling Gary's financial foundation. Mr. Sims, I've revoked Mr. McCoy's access to the savings account and initiated transfer of remaining funds. That's $127,000 moving to your primary account. I'm also showing 3 credit cards with authorized user status in his name. Shall I cancel those as well? $127,000. Gary had been living off my money for 2 years while my daughter suffered in silence. Cancel every card. Remove him as authorized user on all accounts. Delete his contact information from emergency notifications. Processing now. Okay, that's complete. Mr. McCoy will receive notice that his cards have been deactivated and any attempted transactions will be declined. Is there anything else I can do for you tonight? Set up fraud alerts if anyone tries to access these accounts using his information. Already in place, sir. You'll receive confirmation emails within the next few minutes. I hung up and immediately opened my banking app to verify the changes. Account access revoked. Credit cards canceled. Automatic payments terminated. The digital paper trail showed Gary's financial lifeline had been severed with surgical precision. My phone buzzed with the first confirmation email, then another. Each notification felt like justice delivered. Let's see how long the yacht party lasts when his credit cards start getting declined. The engineering part of this problem was solved. Identify the system failure, isolate the problematic component, remove it permanently. Gary's access to my resources now existed only in his own deluded imagination. Matilda was awake when I returned, staring at the ceiling with that distant expression. Hey, sweetheart. How are you feeling? I sat down my untouched coffee and pulled the chair close to her bedside. Better now that you're here. She turned toward me, and I could see something had shifted. Dad, I need to tell you something about Gary. I took her hand. Take your time, honey. I'm here to listen. He changed after Jack was born, started saying I wasn't contributing enough financially. The words came out slowly. He said I was a burden. My free hand clenched into a fist under the hospital blanket. He said the medical bills were ruining his future plans, that he'd married a partner, not a patient. She looked away, shame coloring her cheeks. When the cancer diagnosis came, he just shut down, started staying out later, making excuses about work meetings. What kind of man abandons his sick wife? I couldn't keep all the anger out of my voice. I kept thinking if I got better quickly, maybe he'd come back to us. Tears started sliding down her cheeks. But he's not coming back, is he, Dad? Sweetheart, you are perfect exactly as you are. Any man who can't see that doesn't deserve you. I smoothed her hair. You'll never have to deal with his selfishness again. Focus on getting better. I'll handle everything else. Exhaustion was overtaking her. Promise me something, she whispered. Don't let anger at Gary consume you. I need my dad, not another angry man in my life. I promise, sweetheart. Rest now. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Marina del Rey area code. I moved quietly to the window and answered. Hello. My voice was ice. Harley, what did you do? My cards were declined in front of everyone. Fix this immediately. Gary's voice cracked with panic and humiliation. Where are you right now, Gary? That's not your business. Listen, old man, you need to restore my access right now or what, Gary? Or my daughter is dying in a hospital bed, and you're partying on a yacht with my money? Silence, then sputtering. How did you? This is business networking. Through the phone, I could hear it all, party music, laughter, the sound of a man whose world was dissolving. You can't just cut me off. I have rights. I'm her husband. You were her husband. Past tense. I turned to see Matilda's eyes open, watching me with growing understanding. Gary's voice shifted, becoming calculating. Restore my access or I file for divorce and take the kids. I'll make sure Matilda loses everything in court. That was his mistake. The moment he threatened my grandchildren. Gary, I said quietly, and something in my tone made even him pause. You just made the biggest mistake of your pathetic life. I walked to Matilda's bedside, taking her hand, her fingers intertwined with mine, squeezing tight in support. You chose a yacht over your dying wife. You chose parties over your children. You chose my money over your family's future. My voice dropped to barely above a whisper, but each word cut like a blade. You made your choice. Now live with the consequences. His voice broke completely. I have nowhere to go. My friends won't even look at me after the card thing. The yacht company is threatening to call the police. You had your second chance every single day for the past 6 months, I told him. Every day you chose not to be here. Please, Harley, I'm begging you. Just give me enough to get home, and we can. No. You're done, Gary. Done with my money. Done with my family. Done hurting people I love. But I don't have anywhere to. I hung up and immediately blocked his number. I sat beside Matilda's bed and pulled her hand to my lips. Thank you, Daddy, she whispered. You never have to thank me for protecting you, sweetheart. That's what fathers do. I was so afraid to leave him, afraid of the admission I'd made such a terrible mistake. You're not alone. You'll never be alone again. And it wasn't your mistake. That's on him, not you. Matilda smiled, a real smile, full of hope. Get some rest, I said softly. Tomorrow, we start planning your future. A future where nobody gets to hurt you ever again. 1 year later, sunshine streamed through the kitchen window of our new house in Texas. The sound of children's laughter drifted in from the backyard. I watched Matilda chop vegetables for lunch. Her hair had grown back thicker than before, framing a face that glowed with health and genuine happiness. The haunting look was gone, replaced by the confident woman I'd raised. Dad, you're lurking again, she said with a teasing tone. Just appreciating the view, sweetheart. Still can't believe you're really here. Through the window, I could see Jack teaching Emma how to throw a perfect spiral. The children had adapted to their new life with the resilience that comes when they're finally truly safe. The divorce had been swift and brutal. Gary's threats about custody evaporated the moment his lawyer heard the recorded phone calls and saw the bank statements. A man who'd abandoned his terminally ill wife while spending her father's money on yacht parties wasn't exactly sympathetic to family court judges. Grandpa, Emma's voice carried through the screen door. Come show Jack how to catch better. In a minute, honey, I called back, then turned to Matilda. How are you feeling today? Really feeling? She set down her knife and faced me fully, and I saw in her eyes what Dr. Rivera's tests had confirmed 3 months ago. Complete remission. I feel like myself again, maybe better than myself, stronger. The kitchen timer chimed, and she pulled a pan of cornbread from the oven, Martha's recipe, the one I'd taught her years ago. Some traditions were worth preserving. Remember what you used to tell me when I was little and scared of thunderstorms? She asked, setting the hot pan on a cooling rack. That storms pass, but families last forever. You were right. She hugged me tight, the way she used to before marriage. Illness and fear had created distance between us. I'd never said, "I told you so," about her ex-husband, and I never would. Matilda had suffered enough without adding shame to her burdens. The restraining order spoke louder than any words I might have offered anyway. Dad! Emma scored a touchdown. Jack burst through the screen door, grass stains on his knees and pure joy on his face. Behind him, Emma performed an elaborate victory dance. Touchdown celebration calls for extra cornbread, Matilda announced, cutting generous squares that steamed in the afternoon light. Later, as evening painted the Texas sky in shades of orange and pink, the 4 of us sat on the front porch swing that had been Martha's favorite feature of our old house, salvaged and rebuilt here where it belonged. Emma dozed against my shoulder while Jack peppered me with questions about the stars beginning to appear overhead. Will you tell us the story about how you saved Mom again? Emma mumbled sleepily. Sweetheart, your mom saved herself. I just helped clear away the obstacles. Like the bad man who went away. Like the bad man who went away. Matilda reached over and squeezed my hand, a gesture that had become our shorthand for gratitude, love, and the kind of bond that crisis either destroys or makes unbreakable. We'd chosen unbreakable. This is what winning looks like, I thought, watching my grandson's eyelids grow heavy in the peaceful evening. Not the moment of victory, though Gary's tearful confession had been satisfying, but the years of quiet happiness that followed. The ordinary Tuesday evenings when nobody's fighting for their life, nobody's betraying anyone, and the only drama is whether Jack will finish his vegetables. The stars emerged one by one overhead. The same constellations Martha and I had watched from this same swing decades ago. Some things change. Marriages end. People disappoint you. Illness tests every assumption about fairness. But some things endure, the love between a father and daughter, the resilience of children, the satisfaction of protecting what matters most. Tomorrow, Matilda will work on her latest design project while the kids participate in their new school. I'd tend the garden Martha had always wanted and maybe start that woodworking project for Emma's dollhouse. Normal life, the kind worth fighting for. Tonight, though, we sat together under the vast Texas sky. 3 generations bound by love and tested by fire, finally safe in the peace we'd earned. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right. Thank you for watching.